Right, shalom everybody, and just want to start this pre-Yom Kippur meditation the Sunday before. Welcome everybody. Just first thing to do is just relax. Try to minimize the noise around you. Close doors. Close your windows if you can. If you're hot, don't close your windows. But anyways, just try to start out. You're sitting. Try to relax. Let all your energy down to your feet. And breathe. Try to let go of all the tension of the day. Try to feel that God voice within you to guide you in these meditations. And in my meditation technique that I get from Ram Shapiro's book, this is based on some other common meditation techniques. And try to sit, put your hands on your thighs. There isn't any particular technique. Just try to keep your back straight, your spine standing up and down. Try to keep your head up. It keeps you awake. And just sit. The technique that I use Rabbi Shapiro calls this technique Gusan. Other people will call it a mantra. Generally, it's a word that you speak to try to focus your thoughts and your energy. And I use a common one, Rabbono Shel Olam, Master of the Universe. And you can really use anyone with common Jewish liturgy, names of God. Baruch Atah, I don't know, Eloheinu melech haolam is one you could use. Shema, just common words. The primary idea is that you're focusing your thoughts and clearing out your mind so you can primarily open yourself to God. So emptying yourself and filling yourself with God. And for these, I've been using Shema, basically focusing on the three main letters in Shema: Shin, Mem, Ayin. And Shin is shh, Mem is Ayin, or an out breath. So start out. Try to say it with me. I'll get back to the Gusan in a minute. If you're hearing, you can close your eyes. Just try to listen to sounds around you. If it's night where you are, the crickets, any sounds around you, any people talking, any sounds in nature. Try to focus on your breath. Don't try to force it. As you feel yourself breathe, you feel the place below your belly rise and fall. And say to yourself slowly, say your word. I'll say mine. Rabbono Shel Olam. Rabbono Shel Olam. Rabbono Shel Olam. I'm going to do this for about 10 minutes. When I normally do it for myself, I usually do 20 minutes to half an hour, depending on how much time I have. But for these purposes, do it for about 10 minutes. So keep saying your word. Rabbono Shel Olam. Rabbono Shel Olam. Rabbono. As you do this, perhaps your work on your teshuvah will go through your mind, something that will be there. You can, whatever does come up to your mind, day's events, just let it go. Keep saying your word. and do this for about 10 minutes. And once we're done, I'm going to read some words from Rami Shapiro's versions of the Psalms. I did a couple for Rosh Chodesh. I'll do some now, although we talk about the work of Teshuvah. A couple suggestions here for meditation. After a while, this might get annoying, just sitting here doing nothing. It's easy to get really bored. When you feel that, try to say your word and breathe. Let go of the tension that might build up in your shoulders, in your hips, in your feet. Just let it go. There's no right or wrong here. What is good is to be placid, accepting, receiving. What is God as you perceive Him? Bono Shalom. Bono Shalom. Bono Shalom. Now, it isn't important if you say it out loud or just whispering it to yourself. The idea is to use the word to focus your mind from going off in the strange places or places you want it to go. The idea right now is to sit and to be, to prepare yourself for the work, preparing yourself for the prayer, preparing yourself for Yom Kippur. As I said in the previous, the Rosh Hashanah meditation, Rami Shapiro calls this Musar, inspirational reading. It's not the same as the Musar movement. That's something different, but it's related. The same person who began that, Rabbi Israel Lipkin Silencer, used this method, a similar method, where he would read Torah and other texts in a very low light to use it to prepare your mind for the text. And particularly here, Rami Shapiro is suggesting get your mind into a meditative state and then read an inspirational text, and so that your mind hears at several levels what's going on instead of this superficial reading we normally do, instead of just hearing intellectually and getting the idea, the feeling. He suggests reading yourself, looking at the words deliberately. So if you have a text that you'll be reading, like a Torah portion, or any kind of inspirational text that you use for your normal meditative or inspirational reading, you just try to read it very slowly. Since that's kind of tough for us to all do at once, I'm going to read some Psalms that Rami has in the book that I get this from. And these are renditions of the Psalms. He takes the ideas in Psalms, then writes poetry it's parallel, but it isn't the same. This isn't a translation, so I don't want anyone to think this is what the text says, isn't what he is saying it says. This is his perspective on these particular Psalms. So when you're ready, if you're still saying your word, stop saying the word for a while and listen to what I'm saying. Listen to the poem. Try to listen deeply. I'll try to read it deliberately, slow enough for you to understand, and try to say it well enough so you can understand what I'm saying. So this is Psalm 97. Embedded in my heart is a melody beats, awaiting the conductor's call. I hear it now, again, faintly. It stirs my quest for prayer with hints of grace. It haunts my dream of control with intimations of selflessness. It stays my hand lifted in anger and calms my heart tight with rage. It whispers to me of justice and sings to me of compassion. It is the song of God, and I shall sing it yet. But not alone. We each hear the song. We each need the choir. Someday the song will rise in our mouths, and we will sing together in harmony. Mountains of discord will melt before us. Idols of ego, tribe, boundary will give way, as we weave a song of wonder, celebrating the many and the one. Together we will sing the world awake, bringing light to the dark places, and letting the shadows dance once more. Light is sown for the righteous, joy for those who embrace it, and song is a chariot to both. Okay, and I'll read another. And if anyone has any questions or anything, feel free, anyone in the chat, feel free to ask them. I'll try to let you know or try to answer them if I can. Okay, next one I'm going to read. The next one I'm going to read is Psalm 98. If you're feeling agitated or anything, try to return to your breath, return to your word. Oh, no. And stop and try to listen to my words. Again, Psalm 98. Sing to God, for song is the highway to heaven. Sing a new song, for the newness is the gift of humankind. Sing to God a new song. Those words, not yet written, speak of joy not yet felt, whose melody not yet composed. Sing to God a new song. To sing a new song, I will sing with a new voice. I must let go the known and embrace the unknown, for the new is always surprised. To sing a new song, I must open myself to wonder. I must embrace the fullness of mind and body. I immerse myself in the totality of life, its births and its deaths, its arising and its passings. I must let go of the boxes into which I stuff the stuff of life, and allow what is to speak its truth. And when I shall take the truth and sing it aloud, with lyre and with drum, and with voice and with silence, I will sing a song that surprises even God, and in that surprise will be a great deliverance. Now, after this psalm, we'll return to short meditation, about 3 minutes. It allows us to let what was just said sink in. Let it flow through your mind. Let the word be in your mind. Follow your breath. All right. The general technique that Rami Shapiro talks in his book, Minyan, the section is called a Musar. It's a third section of the practices. Let's tell you specifically. There's 10 practices of Minyan, and number 3 is Musar, inspirational reading. If you're looking in the book, that's where more information about this would be. Okay, and the idea is that there's about 20 minutes of meditation, well, 30 minutes of meditation he recommends, but I usually do 20 in the middle of the day. That's when I usually do it. But if you can do 30, 30 is what he argues for, sort of the goal for. And then after the 30-minute meditation, you read for however long you want to read, and then go back to about 5 minutes of meditation to let whatever you read, sink in. And the idea is that the meditation opens you to these ideas that you're reading. And you try to read something that inspires you somehow. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Jewish text, Rami argues, but I would find something that inspires you and it supports whatever practice you do of prayer. Primarily is the traditional use of meditation. In a Jewish context, usually there was prayer in certain congregations, some sort of prayer-like activity before prayer, like half an hour, 45 minutes, but it was done away with because it didn't really fit into Western, especially American, if you live in America, point of view or the way of life. So it was eliminated primarily, although it's in there. I mean, if you look in the prayer service, there's a lot of moments for meditation that it would fit in perfectly with the kind of silent prayer you have, throughout the various texts. So if you're trying to establish your own meditation practice, I would say do in the beginning of each, Shacharit, Mincha, Mariv, and try to do that 20 minutes before your regular prayer, or how much ever fits into your, how much time you have left in your own life. If you can take out 10 minutes before your prayer, whatever your prayer practice is, that'd be really helpful. Generally, the idea is it doesn't have to be any amount. It has more to do with how it affects you and how it fits into your life. The idea isn't just that meditation is magic. It's not magic really. It just allows you to focus on the words of prayer, and that to me is probably the most important thing. I'm listening to God, whether that's a metaphor or if you actually hear something. I'm not going to talk one way or the other about that, but the idea is to clear your mind and to open yourself up for God, whatever that means to you. So, and for Yom Kippur use, particularly if you want to write down things you're working on for your teshuvah practice, or if you're focusing on teshuvah, or if it's more general. Maybe write it down on a piece of paper and read that after your meditation. Or if things come up during your meditation, come into your mind, nothing wrong with that. Feel free to write that down if something you want to work at. And so the idea here for this for Yom Kippur meditation is use the meditation for clearing, but also let it use your your intuitive mind to figure out what in particular for you is important during the last year, and what you've been working at, if you've been working at since Rosh Hashanah, and what you've been working until Yom Kippur. And now I thought this would be a good time, on a Sunday when I'm free, to try to leave something, meditative use of what we're doing as Jews. So now we return to another version of the Psalms, Rami Shapiro's Psalm 99. The earth trembles with intimations of God. The nations quake before the one without a flag. Our boundaries shatter as the whole hugs its parts. We scar the earth with barbed lines and define ourselves within them. We label the stranger and mark a friend. God is greater than this. God is above our masks and our magic. God speaks and there are no words. God teaches and there are no books. God guides and there are no gurus. God plants justice and we sow discord. God sees compassion and we reap anger. God extends charity and we shrug with indifference. No wonder there is trembling. We are frightened not of God, but of ourselves. We are frightened not of the one, but of the many we call them. May I make this day a day of emptying myself, a day of exalting the one who is at the heart of the many. May I make the day a day of humbling myself before the one who is all. And in all the way will I move beyond fragmentation to the greater unity. This is God's gift in my essence. Okay, I'm going to lead meditation for about 2 more minutes. If anyone needs to leave at 8:30, feel free. If anyone wants to stay, I'm going to continue reading. All right. Now, if this is anyone's first time to meditate, feel free to give me or anyone else any of your experiences or any questions you have. Another technique I use is word I call a Nigun. Is generally a wordless melody that can be used in place of a Gusan or a mantra. That's usually something used after singing during in place of prayer, or when the words are done. You still want to keep the melody. That's one way of also meditating. Usually, I'm using a text, particularly in Hebrew. I'm using that like as a chant. Short text usually is a good way to chant. the idea is repetitive, so you habituate what you're doing, and you habituate the state. And the meditative state for and as Lee says, been meditating for 35 plus years. That's more than me. I'm only 40, so I've been only meditating maybe 20 years at the most. But we're not competing. Just do you use any particular technique, Esma? Just curious about what other people do. I mean, this is, all I'm doing is demonstrating my technique. I'm really thinking of it as teaching, just showing, really. And demonstrating that this is how I do it, and try to incorporate that, into your daily practice. If watching the breath is something good to something to start with before if you do traditional prayers. And there's really nothing wrong with changing your mantra, but it's your Gusan. And I think it's called dispelling in Hebrew. It dispels your thoughts, and there's lots of different chants you can use. Generally, a good one is something you want to inspire into your life. It's a name of God you want to encourage in your own life. It's something that you want to learn. Is a good way to find a mantra. Generally, the idea is to practice it, and to practice it every day. And usually we'll learn new things from it every time, and ways even in your normal life. Use it, when you're getting stressed, when things aren't going your way. Good way to get back to God, get back to your center. That is God, your mind, your body. It's practice is really that's what generally it's called. It's a practice. It's not exactly, you're not doing anything else. It's just sort of being and learning to open yourself up to God, and instead of trying to force God into something, or somehow manipulating God into bringing things to us. That's a very very ego based kind of practice, and it has its own problems. So, but practice is the best. And something I read today. I read a book by fairly regularly called Jill Hammer. She has different meditations for each day of the Hebrew year, and what she talked about for today, the 7th Tishrei, this is called, I'm going to read this, it's pretty short. It's called Soul Candles, 7th Day of Repentance. And in each section she has 2 portions, and then she comments it on the side. So kind of like her own version of Talmud, not exactly, but similar. And the portion she comments on is Genesis 37, 31 to 31, 37. Yeah, Genesis 37, 31 to 35. And that goes, then they took Joseph's tunic, slaughtered a kid, and dipped the tunic in the blood. They had the ornamented tunic taken to their father, and they said, "We found this. Please examine it. Is this your son's tunic or not?" He recognized it and said, "My son's tunic. The savage beast has devoured him." And Jacob rent his clothes. This is all about Yosef. And then she basically interspersed this with a second text, which is about the same portion, but this is in Jubilees 34, 12 through 15. Sons of Jacob slaughtered a kid, dipped the coat of Joseph in the blood, and sent it to Jacob. On the 10th of the 7th month, Bilhah heard that Joseph had perished, and Dinah also died. For this is the reason it is ordained for the children of Israel that they should afflict themselves on the 10th of the 7th month, Yom Kippur. So basically, she said this involves us thinking about our ancestors and reflecting on our ancestors, and also reflecting on our deeds for that year. She says, as life hibernates, we approach Yom Kippur when we consider our frail days mortals. The Book of Jubilees relates that on Yom Kippur, Joseph's brothers betrayed him, selling him into Egypt. And then Jacob thought that his son had died. So this is an opportune time to think about, about repenting about our deeds, also remembering our ancestors. This is the time for Yizkor. And she said that some European Jews have a custom called making a soul candle between Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, and that these candles have wicks that represent family members and friends, both living and dead. And so these are ways we honor the dead souls of our ancestors. And yeah, Jewish meditation music, that's tough. I know Shefa Gold does some, but I don't really know off the top of my head. I also know Rabbi Andrew Hahn. He goes by the Kirtan Rabbi. I find his music works very well for meditation if you need something in the background. It's not unassuming like some meditation music, but it's Jewish music, and he usually focuses on names of God and short chants. I use that sometimes, and you can find some on the internet. I don't know if anyone uses Spotify. There's some music. If you type something easy like Jewish music, you can find some stuff. You can type in Kirtan Rabbi. He has a couple. I think he has one live album on there and a couple songs from his latest album. I don't know this off the top of my head. You can ask different people from OneShul and PunkTorah. Okay, it's a Kirtan Rabbi, Kirtan, like the Indian kind of practice Kirtan. He uses that technique with usually Jewish liturgy. Okay. And I generally check on. There's one thing that Patrick made. I'm not sure who edited it. If you go onto the PunkTorah website, they used to sell it. I think it's available free now for download, and you can get that. That's some interesting meditation music. I think it's pretty good stuff. It's some of it's very mellow. Some of it's more intense. I don't know what exactly what kind of meditation. If you meditate to the music or you just use it as sort of atmospheric, but that's helpful. I think I'm not sure where the music comes from. I know Patrick had something to do with editing. I think he put it together somehow. You'd have to ask Patrick since he's not here today. And there's other people. I think sorry. Katsira has some other music. She plays some of the Kirtan Rabbi stuff when she does her her Rosh Chodesh ceremony, her service that she does every month. She usually has some music there, some meditative music there. And when she does her Erev Shabbat services, she has that too. So you might want to ask her. She might have some suggestions. I can if you're looking for that, I can ask. I can do some research and tell Patrick, and maybe you can post it in an article or something like that. If anyone else is interested in that, let me know. I can give you. Well, I'll post this. Here's my email address if anyone's interested in or has any questions. Here's my gammon@yahoo.com, and you can email me if you wanna if you have any questions about meditation or about music. I generally honestly don't use a lot of music. Usually it's something some people use music primarily as their meditative practice. I like something that I can access anytime, anywhere where I am. But I'll sometimes use music as background, sort of set a mood. If that's what you're talking about, Ernesto. Right. I'm gonna try to do I'll do one last thing here. Here's some liturgical poetry that Rami Shapiro. I'm getting all these from his book, and I'll read this one. Try to breathe. focus, say your mantra or your Gusan. Try to focus, breathe. May I live each day with fullness of mind, attending to life, and all she places before me. Thus will I live without hesitation. Only then can I lie down in peace. Having given life my all, only then can I rise up in anticipation of a new day, knowing I have so much more to give. Let mercy refine my actions, and justice shield me from my enemies. Let my life be a vehicle for grace and for mercy, bringing peace and comfort to all in need. May the source of life spread a blanket of peace over me, over Israel, over Jerusalem, and all over the world. Yeah, there's some discussion going on in the chat room of meditative music. One that Tracy Nichols mentioned is a duo called Temple. They're at www.hebrewchanting.com. Dayan and Eyal. You might want to check that out. Might even type this up and put this somewhere later. And one Tracy also mentioned Kabbalah Kirtan, and also stuff by Holly Shira, Taya Shira, that the Kirtan that Kasira uses sometimes, I believe, or she's part of the priestess program that she does with Jill Hammer, whose book I mentioned earlier. I am not trying to tie these all together, really. I'm not pushing all these people's products to just have them be mentioned. The eternal God is not the God of Abraham, is not the God of Isaac, is not the God of Jacob, is not the God of Sarah, is not the God of Rebecca, is not the God of Leah, is not the God of Rachel, is not the God of my childhood, is not the God of my youth, is not my God, is not the God of my adulthood, is not the God of my old age, is not the God of my dying, is not the God of my imagining. The eternal God is not my creation. The eternal God is not the God who chooses, is not the God who commands, is not the God who punishes, is not the God who creates, is not the God who destroys, is not the God who makes me win, is not the God who sees my enemies lose. The God is not my creation. The eternal God is God who alone exists and who exists alone. I am free from ancestors, free from tradition, free from truth, free from world, free from thoughts, free from even the need to be free. There is God, there I am not. Both is one at the heart of my emptiness. Keep doing your chant, your Gusan, your mantra, your breathing. I am loved. Too easy to say, perhaps. Too fleeting a feeling upon which to anchor a life. And yet it is so. I am loved, though not always me. From my earliest days, I was helped and guided to find the path of justice, mercy, and humility. Some guides were clear. Parents, grandparents, teachers, friends. Some were subtle, unexpected, often painful. They are all and always with me. When I quiet my mind and still my heart, when I cease the nervous doing that so often passes for purposeful living, I sense their wisdom echoing in my heart. I call out and hear the echo, my voice, no longer mine and richer. I listen and learn. Through tales and tradition, through law and acts of kindness, I find my way. I take mitzvot upon myself and seek to walk the path of righteousness. They too become my guides, and I think of them daily. May I never withdraw my love from this path. Blessed are they who love the way of Israel. And Tracy Nichols shared that Holly Talia share her website is wildearthhebrew.com. So wildearthhebrew.com. If anyone needs that spelled, you're not in the chat room, contact me. Right. Try to guide a little here. The final meditation. As you sit, feel your belly churn if you have hunger. Feel the tire of your muscle from the day just spent. This is all here. This is all mystery. This is all its own little miracle. sounds we sit before it. Shana Tova, everybody. Hopefully you have your work will lead you to mindful insights on Yom Kippur. Let you find your own path. Right. Good night, everybody.